Oh, hi everyone, it's Bob from Greybeard Models. Welcome back to the channel. And you would have seen from the introduction that we're building the Stalwart, the Airfix awaited Stalwart. Um, and to be perfectly honest with you, I've been sort of hanging on and hanging on because I didn't know whether or not there was going to be a flurry of aftermarket parts. Um, One of the things that I think Airfix missed a trick on was not having the kit with a high ab on the back, because the most common sort of incarnation of it that you see is the one with the high ab lift on the back, and I think it's a bit of a shame that they didn't do that. But that's just my opinion. Well, what do I know? I don't run Airfix. Um, Generally speaking, I think it's a good kit. I know there's shortcomings on it, and a lot of people have sort of highlighted those. And if you can have a look on YouTube, you'll find that there's quite a few people made, what can you say, negative comments. Um, I've actually bought two. Um, the reason is the first one I bought had a part missing. So I got in touch with Airfix to get a replacement part. And while I was waiting for that, I went back to Jadlam and got a really good discount price for buying off of them. So I bought a second one, um, mainly because I wanted to do one that was sort of out of the box, and then do another one with a lot of the aftermarket stuff that I thought was going to come, or I was going to scratch build stuff. But anyway, that's where we're going to go with it. So I think without further ado, let's get over to the bench, and we'll have a look where we are with it, because we've got quite a way through it. Anyway, over to the bench, we'll have a look.
Well, I'm not going to go into unboxing and all that old paraphernalia because there's been quite a number of unboxing videos. So I'll go straight into to the build, and I've started the first part of the build, putting the first parts together on the underside of the hull, which is essentially parts 1, 2, 3, 4 that I've done. I've drilled the holes and things. So I've got all of that together. That's actually set really quite nicely. I'm quite pleased with that. I know that there's people out there who have had some problems sort of getting things all aligned, but this seemed to go together. I mean, it literally did fall together. Excuse me, almost like a Tamiya kit. No, don't say that. Um, yeah, went together really nicely. So I've got all of those parts together. Of course, the instructions then go on to say start putting all the cab and all that old carry on together. But I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to carry on with the underside. And I think Nigel's modelling bench, Nigel over there, if you haven't seen his videos, go and check them out. He carried on with doing the underside, and I understood the logic, because if you start building all of these parts on the top of the hull, you end up with a situation where when you come to do the underside, you've got all sorts of bits sticking out, and it could be potentially you can end up damaging some of the stuff you've already done. So I think it's easier to put all of the suspension and all the gubbins underneath here, and essentially get all of that together, and possibly get the wheels on so that it's all sitting there, and then build the top half, because you're not going to be pushing loads of stuff together, I don't think. Whereas this, you do need to sort of hold all this together. But yeah, so that's gone together really quite nicely. I've also where did they go? Oh, there they are. I've also sort of made some parts, done some preliminary dry fitting on parts. This is actually the whole section here. That all sorts of goes together in there. So I've got all of that sort of cleaned and prepped, dealt with a couple of sinkholes, ejector pin marks there and there, dealt with those. So you know, these parts are all done. Looking at the sides of the cab, I've done that and drilled the holes out on those. So I've got those together, and then pretty much that's where I am until I get to the next bit, which I can't find. There it is. I put it in a bowl so I knew where it was and it was safe. And now the bowl's in the bottom. So what I've done here is I've taped the exhaust stack, I suppose you would call it, together just to hold that in place, and I've drilled out the exhaust, I think, which should come into focus somewhere, probably not, but yeah, so I've drilled those out as well. So what I'm doing is actually doing a lot of the preliminary stuff, and I'll come back to the exhaust probably in another video, but anyway, that's where I am with this. So I'll move from this page right the way through to section 38 through 39, and get that stuff together on that side. I'll do the preliminary assembly of the sort of wheel hubs by the looks of whatever they would be called, and get those prepared so that they're ready to go into the bottom and all of that sort of thing. So I'll get on and do that, and then I'll come back to you. Right, so the other thing to look at is section 32, which is where you've got the two options of exhaust pipes. I'm going to go for this one. So I need to, basically what I'll do is I'll mock this part up and we'll have a look at that. So what I've done is take the two sides of the exhaust stack together, plus the exhaust pipes that go through like that. Just take those together for the moment. The other thing to do is to drill out the exhaust. Fairly straightforward to do, because the center of the molding along the vertical gives you that center line, and it's just a matter of sort of marking up how far is the center of that pipe. And what I tend to do when I'm doing this sort of thing is I've got this is actually a darning needle that I salvaged out of my mum's stuff when she got too old to be at home on her own, and she went off into a nursing home and she didn't need all her sewing kit, so I had that. So what I tend to do with this is I use the point of that to mark a point on the ends of the tubes, and then drill them out. Start with a small drill and gradually sort of move out. So just move on a little bit. Okay, so having assembled all of the underside of the hull, given it a coat of my favourite primer. Obviously it's black, and for those of you that don't know, that's the one I use, the Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500. I just like it. So yeah, so that's been given a good coat of primer, Obviously shot in underneath all the sides. I don't want to pick it up really at the moment because it's literally just come out of the spray booth. So that's that bit done, and once that paint's dry, we can spin it over, and we can start on the upper side. Shall I turn it over? Yeah, go on, why not? Right. So I've also primed the front edge here of the cab. So leave that all to dry now, and we can look at painting the cab, getting all of the flooring done, and then we move on from there. And moving on. Okay, so we've pretty much got all of the underside in place now, apart from the disc brakes, and obviously you can see we haven't got the wheels on yet, but yeah, so that's where we are with that. I've given it a coat of my favourite black primer, and I've also got a coat of this Vallejo NATO Green 71093. I don't know if it is how accurate that colour is, but I figured that at the time this gets a bit of weathering on it, dirt and muck and all the rest of it, it probably won't make a lot of difference the exact shade. On the top side, in the cab area, again gave it a coat of the NATO Green, and starting to weather the floor pan there, and then decide what bits to go on. So all of the bits for the cab are pre-painted, and I think that's where we'll end this video, and on the next video we'll have a more detailed look at the cab. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.